Hello, everybody. How are you all doing today? This is Steve Kodad. Thank you very much for joining me. Appreciate it a great deal. And as usual, we'll have a little bit of time at the end for some questions that you might have. This is my first feng shui in real estate uh, with myself, and I'm looking forward to it. It definitely was sort of how I got started in the business anyway of feng shui. This is really my niche, you might say. And so anyway, we're going to go ahead and get started. I love doing these short things. They're really don't take much of your time. They don't take much of my time either. Do me a favor and mute your audio if you would, and let's go ahead. I want to make sure you understand that the next one is June 1st. So, go ahead and register for that if you're interested in that. It's more focused on the family, you might say, in feng shui, whereas the one in the middle of the month is more on real estate. Now, some of you have already seen this before, but wanted to let you know by showing you the two pictures on the left-hand side that I actually present and have been approved to do a 3-hour CE class in Florida on feng shui and real estate. And I've been doing it for years now, and we're one of maybe 10 or 12 states that have feng shui as part of the curriculum. But the top picture, well, actually both pictures, the guy with the tie on is me. The one on the top, I'm in Boca Raton, and we had like over 100 folks there, a lot of interest. And then the one down on the bottom is actually in Sarasota, and we even had more than that there. So there's an awful lot of interest with respect to feng shui. I hope you decide to get more involved and maybe even take some training. So anyway, let's go ahead to the next slide. Feng shui tips. So today, in our first feng shui in real estate, we're going to talk about what's the most important feature of a house when selling. Now, this is probably not going to terribly surprise you, but it's a big, big pivotal thing with respect to feng shui, and it's actually the curb appeal. Actually, most books, most schools of feng shui will tell you the following, that the outside is much more important, much more pivotal than the inside. Now, probably a lot of you would have some concerns with that idea, especially with your clients. But the curb appeal, the outside is considered more important. So, as I like to do, I like to define things. Curb appeal by the Oxford Dictionary is the attractiveness of a property for sale and its surroundings when viewed from the street. Probably could stop right there as far as I'm concerned. But they continue. Landscaping, the front entrance, and the condition of the paint or siding are the biggest factors in curb appeal. In feng shui, certainly those things are important. But in feng shui, there's all other things that really take precedence. Now, I've been at this for a long time. Some of you are maybe have been in real estate for only a few months or a few years, maybe a decade or so. But you might be really shocked to hear this. When I first started in real estate, and I was involved in real estate myself as a realtor for about 19 years, this might shock you, but the new listings were actually sent out. A guy would actually go from office to office and we'd give the new listings out in paper twice a week. Okay. So that might shock you. But to me, that's so long ago. And some of you remember that at one time, the real estate agent was the only person who had this valuable information on what was listed, what was being sold. Ah, the good days. And then the MLS got better, got improved, but the number of pictures were actually restricted at one time. You could only maybe put on maybe 6 or 8 pictures. Okay. And I obtained this from the CIA. Of course, I'm kidding. This is what they would drop off like on a Tuesday or a Thursday. And you can see nothing was very spectacular looking. So you can imagine that your potential buyer, your client, it was very hard for them to get really turned on looking at this stuff. You look at the sheet on the right-hand side and say, "Oh yeah, that's just gorgeous." Well, they sort of had to take the word of you. Maybe you had seen it. That's what it used to look. And then these sites came about, okay? And probably at one time or another, the real estate agents were cursing this situation because they lost control a little bit. But you should be taking full advantage of these guys and really making sure that your listing pops online. So probably you do this, you take your client, sometimes your client meets you at your office, and you then get on the MLS at that point and look at listings with them, okay? And hopefully this time they'll see something they like and they'll want to see it with you, okay? So how can we help you and everybody else for your listings to stand out online? Well, to me, this is a real pivotal thing that Feng Shui does for you. Here's a person who maybe, I don't know, 11 o'clock at night is now looking for hopefully the perfect home for him and his family. As you can see, oh, yeah, nah, that doesn't look too good. Oh, my goodness, look at that. And this happens all the time on Realtor.com, Trillia, Zillow, and of course on your MLS, where people are whizzing through listings. And maybe some of them fit them perfectly, but they're not even giving it a shot, not giving it a chance. Why is that? Because of the photos. And Feng Shui really, really helps tremendously with the photos. So if you use some of these techniques, you'll find out your photos will pop more and it'll stop them in their tracks. To me, that's really important. To me, curb appeal is more web appeal nowadays. That's where they're going to find their homes. So these sites are visited a great deal, as you know, every day by potential home buyers. And quite often they find the homes they want to see even before you find it for them. So like I said, I love Feng Shui because it did this for me. It made my listings, and I was a listing agent, it made my listings pop more. So it made them stop instead of whizzing through, whizzing through. Sometimes they would look at something for only a split second, it seemed like, even though it perfectly fit what they were looking. So attention, as you now know, of course, especially if you've joined me several times, attention is extremely important on real estate with respect to Feng Shui. So we need to get the viewer, potential buyer, to stop at your listings online and take a really long look and do a deep dive. A lot of them don't do that for a lot of listings. Now, some of you have been with me about the idea of the yin, yang, or yang, if you want to call it that, the yin yang situation with respect to Feng Shui. I'm going to give you a real important tip today, and I hope you'll consider it when you do your photos. There are poor yawn photos, and if you remember what that yawn means, that's sort of in the daylight, very active, even somewhat aggressive, okay? Now, certainly, you wouldn't want to put this on for your listing, but yes, there are some really terrible MLS listings out there. Yeah, it's in the middle of the day. That's great. It's not raining. But everything else is wrong about it, right? You're thinking, well, what's wrong with this one? Well, a lot, a lot. This is in the middle of the day too. But the shadows really hurt you, okay? You can't see the front door. And those of you who have been with me know that the front door is so, so important. So we want to show the front door always. So some real estate agents, definitely not you all, can be very lazy with what they take. And then here's my favorite one. I'm sure you've seen things like this before. No, 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 it's not rolling down the mountain. They just took it quickly, maybe even out of their car. So those are really poor yang or yang photos, and you want to take a fantastic. But I'm going to show you some that you might be shocked that I'm not happy with. So these I also consider poor. Now you're probably thinking, well, what is wrong with that one? It's a beautiful home. And I agree, it's a beautiful home, but it does not really do it for me. It doesn't pop. So what I want you to understand, even though this one also is gorgeous, you can make it so much better before you take the photos. Your photos, I don't know how many you got because all the MLSs are different. Maybe you have 10, maybe you have 20. Some of you have more than that. But your photos are so important in how you actually set them up in the deck. So the first photo should be the yang or the yan photo in beautiful sunlight. And again, I'm going to improve on this. At least I think so. I'm going to add some colors. So if you look on the right-hand side of the picture, I'm going to put a hanging plant with some color in it. Then down below it, I'm going to put some color. I'd love to have a tree here that it has color, but at least is rounded. There's a reason why, and we can't get into that today. But the rounded one is a lot more comforting to people. And then at the door, I'm going to put something too. So what I'm getting at is this photo now is enhanced, and a person is definitely going to stop and take a good, long, deep dive into this listing, whereas they might skip by it real quickly. So these are good yang photos, okay? Now I want to make a point about this. This is from a builder. Have you ever noticed when the builders put these things up that they have a lot of color and landscaping in them? Well, your clients need to do the same thing. There's a reason why they put them in the renderings like this. The color, the contrast really is going to help somebody to stop at the street, but also stop online. Please make sure you understand 70% of the homes that these people are going to look at are probably ones they've found online. Now, how about this one? Don't you think somebody would stop online and look at this one a lot closer? They certainly would. So keep that in mind, please. So the first photo in your deck should be a tremendously good looking one, not in an overcast day. You might have to go out there and take several photos. You want to take a great photo, a yang photo, and then you're going to follow it up with a yin photo. This is my key point. So first one in the deck is a yan photo. Then the next one's going to be a yin photo. And that's going to show the house in two different lights, if you want to put it that way. So these are really lousy yin photos. I don't know about you. If I was trick-or-treating, I might pass on this house. You see the shadows and all that kind of stuff. So you want to take a little bit better situation than that. Here's somebody who I guess didn't pay their electrical bills. And for some reason, their agent thought, oh, this will look good on the MLS. No, it doesn't. And then this person right here is in witness protection probably. So why would you put photos like that online? What you want to do for your yin photo is to do something similar to this. So can you imagine this is the second photo? They showed it first in broad daylight, beautiful, the yan photo. And then you show the yin photo, beautiful. And right away, they now really are starting to get sold on your listing. So to give you some more examples of what the yin photo looks like, look at this. I mean, I have got to see that one. I've got to see this. So again, showing it this way, you'll find out is really going to up your traffic. And of course, let's face it, that's what it's all about anyway. So the next time, when we do meet, which is going to be June 1st, I hope you decide to register for that. Again, it's more on the family setup, and we're going to talk about reputation. That might sound a little weird, but it's not. Reputation, fame are very important in Feng Shui, that you have that really strong reputation in the neighborhood. So again, that's on June the 1st at 2 p.m. Now, I'm going to do a little advertising. I'm doing a Feng Shui real estate professional class. I'm doing it differently because some of you out there were not comfortable with doing it self-paced totally. So I'm now doing something called guided self-paced, and I'm doing it twice this year. It's a 6-week course. June 14th is the first one. August 16th is the second one. I'd love to send you information on it. And if you decide to do that, the designation is the Feng Shui Real Estate Professional. And there's my email down at the bottom. Just ask for it. I promise I won't even follow up. Just ask for it. I'll send it to you. I'm not going to bother you. I want people that want to actually work. And this is what, on June the 14th, what the whole thing looks like. So you can see we'd start off with assigning some videos, then we'd meet for an hour and take all of your questions. But you're also going to be recommended to and encouraged to send me any questions before we meet again. So hope you'll take a look at it. I appreciate you joining me again for this always very short 15 minutes that we get together. But I hope you'll register for the June 1st on reputation, and then we'll do another real estate thing at that point. And so I'm going to open it up to some questions at this point. If anybody has any for me before you head out. Anybody? Another
Hi,
batch?
Steve.
Anybody?
Yeah, I got a question. This is Francis.
Hey, Francis.
Hey, question, on the photos, I guess my question is concerning trees, trees in the front yard. And so I'm kind of thinking about photos in the morning and then photos in the evening. I do see a potential disadvantage of having trees. The only thing I can think of would be to possibly trim the trees fully or at a elevated height. Would you agree?
Oh, I really couldn't even answer that question with one answer. It really depends on the type of tree and where it's located and all those kind of things. Trees and landscaping really are going to help sell a house big time. So a bare yard is definitely not going to be a turn on, Francis. So it would depend where it's located. I don't want it really blocking the front door, for example. So I might cut that back to some degree. But in a lot of cases, I really am going to promote the idea of having trees in the photo. Most people really like that connection to the natural world, and it comes across. It's just the way we're wired.
Okay, thanks.
Anybody else? Any other questions for me? Okay, well, one more thing. I did send out, I'm starting a new newsletter on LinkedIn. So I hope you register for it. You can easily find it. The newsletter is with myself and my partner, Lisa Altman. And we're going to be giving it, it's not a big deal. It's not a large thing. It's 1 or 2 pages, but it's going to be given every month. So I hope you'll register for that too. So again, thank you so much for showing up. And I'll get the recording out as usual to y'all. And I hope you have a great rest of the day. You take care now. Bye-bye.